Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, January the 10th, brought to you entirely by DV Auction. I'd like to give you a little rundown of some of the sales, the production sales that we have coming up this weekend as we're starting to get into our big spring production sale season, and we got a lot of sales coming up, but we're getting into the point of the year where every weekend is going to be very busy, especially on Saturday. But this Saturday, January 11th, including in our production sales, is a Orton Ranch Red Angus sale there, Bassett, Nebraska. That'll be a big one. Live Oak Beef Master Breeders Association out of Three Rivers, Texas. Grassy Meadow Ranch, be a Red Angus sale there in Michigan, North Dakota. And Reds on the Rocks there at the stock show at Denver. And you guys be sure to keep a tune of all of our production sales will be coming up over the next few months on dvauction.com. Got a wet storm coming, and it's not up in the northern plains or the upper Midwest this time. This time it's in the lower Midwest and moving across into the southeast. But they're expecting a lot of moisture in this. I'm not sure how much of that moisture is going to be over there towards your winter wheat region there, and hoping to get some moisture into that, because it really needs a drink when you get into Oklahoma, and especially over into the Texas Panhandle. But going to be some moisture there, and then it's going to build up and move through East Texas and up through Arkansas, expecting a lot of moisture there, expecting some tornadoes and a lot of wind damage there. Coming to you again from the Tracy Taylor building here in beautiful downtown Maysville, Missouri. I want to tell the Taylors how much I appreciate them letting me use this office here while I'm up here in the Midwest doing some running around, and it's really a good place to put this video together and record it, and sure appreciate that. But hoping not to get into too much weather, got to travel up to Ottumwa, Iowa for a talk on Friday night, and looking forward to meeting a good group up there, and then going to be moving or sliding down south from there on the ice and snow down to Columbia, Missouri for the Missouri Cattlemen's Association convention, and they're going to be the noon speaker on that, and really looking forward to that, and really looking forward to getting back home. Look at the board on Thursday. February live cattle futures up 37 cents at 126.72. April up a quarter at 127.30. January feeder cattle up a dime at 146.92, and March up just 2 cents at 146.55. We still haven't seen any fat cattle trade develop, but we did hear of continued pocket bids from your regionals that would be close to steady to what we had last week. The only thing that we had confirmed through USDA mandatory price reporting was in Iowa, and a couple of loads there at 198, and we haven't even seen 2,000 head for the week in the 5-area feeding region yet. So really anxious to see what's going to happen. I assume the Packers are waiting for the board to crash, and it doesn't look like it was going to do it. It was under pressure, but has not crashed yet. We did hear some regional bids in the northern plains up in Nebraska, places at 199, and that particular bid would be a buck higher than what last week was. So not sure if we can establish anything higher, but we'd sure like to get at least steady and steady firm or steady strong. Getting some more of that 125 and some more of that $2 even dressed is what we really want. The southern plains has been very quiet, and the best we've heard there are 122 bids, and that's not going to cut it. When our market last week was mostly 124, and you got your spot live cattle futures contract at 126.72. They're going to have to do a little better than that. Box beef cutout values kind of mixed to a little higher there on Thursday. Your choice cuts on Thursday afternoon, 209.96, up 46 cents, which is really not much, and select cuts up 15 cents only at 206.68, and that's a choice select spread of $3.28. Your slaughter still looking good, and we can't really compare it to last week because of the holiday, but 488,000 through Thursday is 7,000 better than the same week a year ago. And your actual slaughter information come in for the week ending December the 28th with your average dressed steer weights at 905 pounds. A lot of things going on this week. The first full week of 2020. Wahoo Livestock up there in Nebraska is going to have a big special here on Friday, and you guys tune into dvauction.com there. You can view and bid on those cattle at the special feeder cattle auction at Wahoo. The bell ringer was going on Wednesday and Thursday. Superior Livestock's video out there at National Western in Denver. And it was pretty snappy, and I pulled out the top quote that I saw in the wholesale, and it come from a place that was just down the road from where I live. But Carrie Dawn Adams in Tulia, Texas. I'm not talking about Valentine, Nebraska, or someplace where we normally see these big prices, you know, up in Montana or Wyoming or somewhere. Tulia, Texas. Not exactly a vacation spot, but we are raising cattle down in that part of the country. The wheat's not much to brag about, as you can see in this picture, but these would be cattle coming off wheat February 15th to March 5th, pulling them a little bit early there, and I'm really hoping for a little bit of moisture between now and then to carry those cattle on. But I tell you what, this string of steers had all the bells and whistles, certified, verified, natural, NHTC, GAP 4, everything you can do to one, and it paid off. 245 head of the home-raised fancy Angus steers weighing 800 pounds at $158. That's quite a sale. Let's talk about your real-time index on DV Auction there. Through Thursday's sales at 145.84. That was up 14 cents, and that's mostly just because of where the sales were at. But we've reestablished that index now. We've got enough volume back into it where you can really trust it, and then it's just a little ways back, about a buck back from what your January feeder cattle board is, but you can put some stock in that real-time index once again, and it's very close to what your CME cash feeder cattle index is. Look at some sales for Thursday. Winter Livestock and Pratt, 5,000 head there. Good sale for them. Feeder steers weighing under 7, 5.5 to 7, those going on to feed 1 to 2 bucks higher. Your heavier feeder steers weighing 7.5 to 900 pounds, 2 to 3 bucks lower. And we talked about that on the last visit, where some of your big feedlots are kind of worried about your feed costs going in, and they've pulled back a little bit, and the bubble has already burst from the jump that we thought we'd see, and we did realize right after the holidays, but it only lasted a few days, and some pressure on those heavier feeders pretty much all over the country, except for your farmer feeders way up there in the Midwest. But feeder heifers in Pratt, $1 to $2 higher. Picked out an individual load there out of Pratt, Kansas. 59 head of 847 pound steers bring $151.35, and I guarantee you that load wouldn't have been any cheaper. Some other places where they just had strings and strings of cattle that don't normally always have them, but El Dorado, Kansas, they're a very seasonal auction, and seeing a lot of those cattle coming off late in the summer and early in the fall, but they have sales year round, and they had a heck of a sale here, first sale of them for the 2020 year. But look at these loads of feeder steers and heifers here. Pretty impressive. They're selling that many cattle through El Dorado there. And a load of 925 pound steers here bring 142.25. That's an impressive quote. Bluegrass Stockyard, Stanford, Kentucky. I tell you what, they have big sales all the time. And those people, especially in Kentucky, the upper part of the southeast there, they have learned to add value to their cattle by keeping them local, putting weight on them then, and then selling them as yearlings. And they get along a lot better than that, rather than pulling them off the cow and just shipping them into the sale. They're better off selling them local to guys that have a place that have grass there, and instead of shipping them at that lightweight where guys have a lot of health problems with them, keep them local. The local guys don't have near as much trouble getting them to go on, and then they can make loads of yearling feeders out of them, sell them right back through the sale barn there, whether it's Bluegrass Stockyards or wherever it is in that part of the country. But they sell loads of cattle out there, guys. It's not all one at a time, and the loads will bring a very competitive price to anywhere in the country. You look at these loads here, including in there 63 head, 858 pound steers at 143.50. You remember I talked earlier in the week about the rumor has it steers that they sold at Paris stockyards in Paris, Kentucky there. I wanted to give you an update on them. They sold well. I tell you what, they were tickled to death with the way they sold. Probably be continuing to sell those cattle in a stockyard through the ring there, and finding out about price discovery and getting a true competitive bid there instead of selling them direct because they sold so well. But 5 loads of those rumor has it cattle there they weighed 860 pounds. Remember, they're all black. They actually sorted the smoky Charolais off. 5 loads in the 860 to 870 weight range bring 144.90 Ohio bound. Pretty impressive quote there. How about Valentine, Nebraska? Of course, they always have good sales out there, and that's an address where you can always count on those to bring top prices. But talked to Greg there late in the day. They had 3,200 head there. The top quote I saw out of there was 80 steers weighed 707 at 167.50. And he noted that there was good demand for the replacement quality heifers in there. Had one little bunch that they kind of hand sorted there. 32 head of fancy replacement quality heifers weighed 665 at $165. But the top sale for the day on Thursday, Ogallala, Nebraska, 7,000 head there, Dwayne Mays and Company. And you just look at this automated market report, and you can see all the different weight ranges and the weighted average prices, and see how many head they had in some of those. Really interesting to look at. But 1,063 head of the 5-weight steers averaged 557 at 171.93. 1,425 head of 6-weight steers averaged 647 at 158.73. A little over 800 head of 7-weight steer calves weighed 735 on the average at 153.75. Look at some of the heifers. 1,119 head. More heifers came through the ring in Ogallala than they did further up north in Bassett earlier in the week. 1,119 head of the 5-weight heifer calves averaged 545 at 159.68, and 910 head of 6-weight heifers averaged 637 at 148.83. A few top individual quotes out of Ogallala. I got to give those to you. 112 head of 480 pound steers bring 216. It's fun to see a 2 in front of these light calves again. 60 head of 536 pound steers in Ogallala bring $193, and 67 head 799, or might as well say 800 pound steers bring $156.50. That's your feeder flash for Friday.